toxins. One of the ways to reduce the accumulation of toxins, make sure you're getting enough nutrient minerals. The nutrient minerals will keep out the toxic minerals, but if you're deficient in minerals, as so many people are, then they're more prone to absorb the toxic minerals. I wanted to talk a little bit about energy medicine, because another area that medicine entirely ignores. I'm missing something there. And that's a perfect example, yes.
So how much time between treatments? Is there an ideal period of time? And does this treatment possibly affect prostate cancer in a positive way?
Well, if you were to look up the association with infections of prostate cancer, there is one. So in that context, I would say it's going to help there. Same thing with breast cancer, if you look to see whether there's an association with infections of breast cancer.
Where do you look?
You Google it. I can Google it in a minute and see what comes up. But I want to talk about energy medicine a little bit more, because it's going to identify problems that we're not going to see from a blood test. Because that's basically what mainstream medicine uses to diagnose things, unless they send you for a scan of some type, CAT scan or an MRI. But those scans only tell you the problem once it's there, once it's staring in the face. You know, then it says, oh yeah, we see this mass or this abnormality. With energy medicine, you're really looking inside the body and how it functions. And you can pick up areas of dysfunction before they become serious problems, so that you can address it. Now, if you remember, we touched on energy medicine with the hair analysis earlier on. It's going to tell you the impact of the environment on your health. And this is another device that does looks at it in different ways as well.
The Zyto hand cradle is a medical device cleared by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to measure the user's galvanic skin response, or GSR. It is not cleared for the diagnosis or treatment of any disease or medical condition. GSR is an established technology that measures fluctuations in electrical conductivity of the skin. One familiar application of GSR is lie detector testing. During a Zyto scan, the user's baseline GSR is measured by the hand cradle and then compared by Zyto software to digital signatures in the Zyto database. The digital signatures in the Zyto library each represent a physical item. After the software introduces each digital signature, a new corresponding GSR reading is taken. The GSR reading may have changed, having been affected by an energetic link between the digital signature and the user. Each baseline GSR measurement and the GSR measurement taken after the software runs each digital signature become inputs into a unique formula found only in the Zyto software. The numeric value produced by the Zyto software indicates how divergent the digital signature response was from the baseline. We call digital signatures that produce more coherent or balanced responses biological preferences. An easy-to-read report is generated that displays a ranking of the physical items whose corresponding digital signatures resulted in greater biological preference. The report is available to assist individuals as they choose options to maintain health and wellness. We call this whole process biocommunication.
The reason mainstream medicine doesn't adopt treatments like this is because it doesn't lead to the writing of a prescription. You know, everything they do, you know, is geared to promote a drug. Steve, didn't we put a sample report on this one?
We did for the cell well-being. I don't think we have
Oh, we
it.
didn't do one on this one? Let's see if this shows.
paper and pencil. On the Edit Report menu, click Return.
Basically, I want to give you an idea of what it shows. Let's see if they have it here.
I think it's towards the end, there's more stuff related. Yeah, sign there.
In range is shown.
All right, so part of the report begins where it's giving you how many things are out of range or in range. They check for, well, it doesn't say it here. We check for 121 different biomarkers. It gives you an indication of what's in range, what's out of range. And then, with that information, let's see if I can give this a little, but supplements can be helpful in pushing things back in range. But more importantly, it gives you an idea of the meridians, the energy flow in the body through your spinal cord, because we have a chiropractor here that addresses those areas, and we've seen that making improvements on the things that are out of range. And it also tells you what organs may be involved, because when you talk about energy flow through the body and the meridians, it can go through different organs. It may help explain why people feel the way they do. And remember, this is all when someone has normal blood work. You know, they don't feel good, the blood work's normal. You just have to look for why people don't feel well in different ways. So another way, so if you think about how a drug works, a drug actually works the same way, trying to influence the energy flows in your body, only they're doing it with drugs. Now, you can do it with food. We know that food can make you sick and food can make you healthy. You know, so food is really influencing how your body functions as well. But if you get right down to the basic level of function in our body, which is energy, you can make a big difference in how someone feels. So the Ondamed treatment is another device. It's a diagnostic tool that measures your electromagnetic frequencies. It determines which are abnormal, which are normal, and then it can act as a therapeutic tool by putting the abnormal electromagnetic frequency back into the normal range. So this is an interview that we did on the radio. I don't know if anybody had a chance to listen to this one.
You are tuned to Natural Doctor.
We did this with the
Got it?
the owner of the company. Her husband is the one that developed the device, and she's more of the spokesperson for the company. And what was nice about this interview is, you know, we broadcast from here, and we connected with her in Germany, and then we broadcast at the same time. So when we did this, she was in Germany.
Brought to you by AMT Centers, bringing you health information based on the latest research from respected sources around the world. Learn what you can do to enhance health, strengthen muscles, maximize memory, and energize all the systems of your body. Every day, listen for health information on the latest testing procedures available at AMT Centers, as well as the interpretation and action needed.
Well, I think of it. Janet told me the other day they're also going to broadcast on an FM station.
And the FM station is 95.1, I believe. It's either 95.1 or 95.3. And right now it is broadcasting spiritual music, but beginning August 1st, it will be the WNN lineup.
Okay. And it's got a broader range, correct?
Broader range, much clearer broadcast signal. In the evening, WNN, because it's an AM station, has to power down, and so you lose that coverage at night. FM signal stays steady all the time.
So what would its range be? Do you have any idea?
North Miami to mid Palm Beach County.
Okay.
And so all of Broward. Interestingly, some people in Naples pick up the signal, and some people in the islands pick up the signal.
But you can also pick up the signal on iHeartRadio, right? If you go to 1470, listen, yes.
I have a question for you, that you caught my attention, you woke me up.
I woke you up, that means I had to put you to sleep first.
No, well, I woke up so early this morning, I was so excited of coming here. I couldn't sleep, and then now I'm falling asleep. This Ondamed
Ondamed,
machine,
Yeah,
I am electric sensitive, and my life has become a nightmare 2 years ago. I can't go out, cannot go anywhere. And how does that rebalance the electricity in the body? Does it take away the feeling of doom that you feel?
well, that's the device right there, and when we use it, we put a little collar around you so it can pick up your frequencies. And then, and this device at the top here, this one, as you scroll that around, because that goes through all the different frequencies in your body. And while we're doing that, we're feeling the pulse of the person. And when we hit an abnormal frequency, because the machine is communicating with you, and when we hit an abnormal frequency, the pulse will jump. It'll show that there's something wrong at that level. So normally when we go through all the frequencies, we pick up 10 to 12 abnormal frequencies. So then we scroll through those specific abnormal frequencies one more time, looking for the most abnormal one. And that's the one we'll run the programs on to correct that, because a lot of times you correct the strongest abnormal frequency and it puts everything else back into line as well. So in answer to your question, it might.
Oh,
I can
wow.
guarantee it won't hurt you.
Because I did some chelation. I went to this other doctor, and they tested me for heavy metal, which, according to his test, I was superly intoxicated with lead and mercury. And this friend of mine, who's a biochemist, he said to me, if you were that intoxicated with lead, you wouldn't be talking to me right now. And I believe him.
Well, that's come to my attention that there's been a little discussion about how we test for heavy metals. If we were to do a blood test for heavy metals,
Which is what, no,
they didn't do a blood test for heavy, you wouldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Because the heavy metals don't stay in the blood, they get stored in the tissues. If you were to do a urine test for heavy metals,
which is what I did.
you probably wouldn't see anything because, again, they're stored in the tissues, they're not coming out. So in order to find out what your body is storing, you have to take a chelating agent. Usually that's DMSA orally,
Yeah.
you can do EDTA intravenously. So that's called a provocative test. And then you collect the urine and see what's coming out. Now, what you see as far as the levels go really don't tell you much. And that's the point he's trying to make. He said, oh, those are so high. Well, see, the standards that they're comparing you to are what you found in somebody that wasn't given a provocative test. So that's how they say, okay, let's look, these are the low levels that come out when you're not provoking the excretion of these toxins. When you provoke it, you're going to see much higher levels.
That's what he did. I
Right.
had the...
Because
the
you wouldn't see it, and the idea is, there's no safe level for any of these toxins in the body. They're all poisons, yes.
The cellular hair test showed that too.
Yes, that can be helpful. So the idea is, if you have the presence of these toxins in the body, and I don't automatically tell people, oh, you must have chelation therapy, unless they're feeling sick and they're facing a health challenge. The heavy metals are going to interfere with your body's ability to heal. Now, there was another study done years ago. It was done in Europe. It was done in a small town right out off a highway. And the presumption was that they were exposed to a lot of lead before they took the lead out of the gasoline. And they chelated half the town. And the other half wasn't chelated, and they followed that group that was chelated. And the incidence of cancer in that group dropped by 90%. Because these toxins, affect the immune system and predispose you to all types of illnesses. So when you do a provocative test, it's just to see what's being stored in your body. What comes out, really, it doesn't really mean too much, except in the context is if I were to do periodic testing after you've been treated, and we see the levels that come out gradually go down, then you're making an improvement because it's not finding these toxins in the body to the same extent as before.
Well, after doing distillation, I felt better because I used to get this feeling of doom. I would break into a sweat and my head gets really hot. And I fall asleep because I'm so exhausted every time it happened to me. And
So you're feeling better?
after the chelation, I didn't feel that anymore. But I went to Cancun and it got worse when I came back. And it started again, but it's not as bad as before. And I'm just wondering how you address this issue.
Well, what I'm recommending now to people that we find have elevations in heavy metals, that we combine the chelation with the UV-LRX treatment. Because you also have infections in your body.
I'm sure I do.
So you really want to address both of them. So, so that would be my recommendation. Now, you don't do as many UV-LRX treatments as you do chelation, so just at the beginning, I would recommend several. It's going to make the chelation more effective, and I think it sort of goes both ways. The chelation will make the UV-LRX more effective, and the UV-LRX will make the chelation more effective.
Okay. Thank you.
Based on your test results, listen for special events at Advanced Medical Testing Centers. Tune in, get healthy. Now, here are your hosts for the hour, Dr. Herb Slavin, MD, and Janet Cimarelli, licensed nutrition counselor.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Natural Doc Radio. I'm Dr. Herb Slavin, and joining us today is Janet Cimarelli, licensed nutritionist. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning, Dr. Slavin.
And of course, as we mentioned yesterday, we have a guest today, and I think I'll introduce her right now. That's Sylvia Binder, MD, PhD. She's the CEO and president of Ondamed companies in Germany and the United States.
Janet, when we did this, were you here or you were on the phone?
I
think you were on the
was
phone.
here.
You were here that day?
This is for, the.
Ondamed, Sylvia Binder.
Yeah, I was
You
here.
Just a little background on her. She received her business degree in Vienna, Austria, where she grew up, and then she moved to the United States at age 21. But she's back in Germany right now. We're speaking to her from a little town in the southern part of Germany called Freiburg. Well, anyway, she holds a degree in naturopathy from the College of Naturopathic Medicine and a PhD degree in naturopathy from the Open International University for Complementary Medicine. And I'd like to welcome Sylvia Binder. Good afternoon for you.
Yes, good.
Just like to say too that in Europe, this type of approach to healthcare is much more popular. Seems like in this country, the only thing that's popular is drugs.
Good morning, good evening my time, Dr. Slavin. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be with you all the way here over the Atlantic Ocean.
So happy to have you with us. It's going to be a very, very informative discussion for our listeners, I believe. It is an area of medicine, both diagnostic and therapeutic, that so many people unfortunately would never hear about, except because Natural Doc Radio brings them the information, and Dr. Slavin provides the technology at his office.
Thank you for the warm welcome. And you're so right. Not enough people know about the empowerment of what a technology can do when it taps in, recognizes an individual at their core, not just at their symptoms, and looks at their whole life journey of health. and then stimulates in a way that is non-threatening, non-invasive, and provides a stimulation to kickstart the healing process within oneself. And that's what Ondamed does.
It's so amazing to me. I remember having the introduction to Ondamed, and I think that it is very reassuring to see the interaction between the technician, the patient, and computerized technology. And I think it is, we are just now beginning to scratch the surface of what is possible. And the thing that impressed me most is having the patient respond to a scan. Do you want to describe a little bit about the first time a patient would be sitting with the Ondamed technology and the Ondamed technician?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So the patient sits down comfortably, a neck applicator gently is being put on their neck, and the therapist sits in front of them. A device is sitting to the right of the practitioner, the left of the patient. Of course, the practitioner is right-handed, and starts to palpate, which means feel the patient's radial pulse or the wrist that feels that pulse, and starts to scan the patient through non-invasive, very gentle whispers of focused electromagnetic fields. Now we need to remember that anything in the universe is electromagnetic. It's all energetic. So we are tapping into the electromagnetic communication pathways of that individual. So the stimulation is coming out of the device and runs through the applicator that is sitting on the patient's neck, and the patient's nervous system receives the stimulation. It's a pulsation, meaning a send and a stop, a send and a stop.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Sylvia, for joining us today. Excellent program.
Thank you.
And for our listeners, go to ondamed.net. You can learn a lot more about energy medicine. All right, we've just run out of time. I'd like to thank all of our listeners. You've been listening to Natural Doc Radio. We're here every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Bye-bye.
She tells the story of how she first got involved. Her son was born with a congenital heart defect, and he needed to be put on Coumadin. And the doctors gave him the Coumadin, and it didn't work. It didn't anticoagulate the blood. And then when she treated her son with the Ondamed treatment, it corrected whatever blockage there was, and it allowed the anticoagulant to work. So it just works in a lot of different ways, but it's the common way is just realigning all the electromagnetic frequencies so they function properly. Well, there's one other new test that's available. I think I'll play this video. It's a brief one. Taking advantage of the latest science now, this company, IGS, Integrated Genetic Solutions, is taking the information derived from the blood test, putting it into their algorithm, a computer algorithm, and based on that information, your genetics, the blood test, and the algorithm, coming up with the optimal doses of supplements, hormones, and the people who are using it are getting excellent results. Now, it started off in New York, Manhattan, and I've been told now that they're going to get some TV time. In other words, now the media is getting interested in what they're doing, but this explains it a little bit.
Personalized medicine is about optimizing each individual's body chemistry. Your optimal body chemistry is a balance of hormones, pre-hormones, proteins, vitamins, electrolytes, and minerals determined by your DNA. The way people feel and perform is a combination of how close they are to their optimal body chemistry and their genetically driven responses to exercise, rest, nutrition, prescribed medications, vitamins, supplements, and many other factors. Personalized medicine really means optimizing an individual's unique body chemistry and maintaining that optimal balance throughout life. Until now, standard treatments and dosages were one size fits all based on the average person, while all this time our DNA has just been waiting to provide a clear map to personalized medicine. This map helps take the guesswork out of medical treatment plans, diets, and supplements. After all, your body is not an equation. It is a chemistry lab driven by your unique DNA roadmap. Integrated Genetic Solutions can measure each individual's unique body chemistry using genetic information and lab-certified blood work, giving doctors the power to medically treat imbalances through a personalized program of tailored pharmaceuticals, NSF GMP certified supplements, vitamins, electrolytes, nutraceuticals, nutrition, and exercise. Continual analysis of your body's responses gives doctors the ability to alter treatment as you change over time. As life events alter body chemistry, doctors can easily identify and treat deficiencies. Integrated Genetic Solutions and your doctor can use your genetic information to personalize your medicine, remove the confusion and guesswork of bad diets and programs, and optimize your body chemistry, giving you the power to perform, look, and feel your best. Ask your doctor about Integrated Genetic Solutions and learn more about DNA-based personalized medicine today.
Well, again, taking advantage of, all the latest. Now, mainstream medicine won't be interested in this. This is going to keep you from needing drugs, keep you healthy. But
Wow. You have this machine here?
That's not a machine. The way it works
The
is,
system.
yeah, the way it works is there's a special panel of blood tests that are drawn.
Oh,
Then it goes to Empire Labs, and then they work with Integrated Genetic Solutions to come up with the recommendations, based on, so they're taking into account the supplements you're taking currently, any medications you're taking, and all that gets put into their algorithm to figure out, what's best